It's the 2012 Victorian Premier League final between the Dandenong Thunder and the Oakleigh Cannons. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Good evening and welcome to AAMI Park, the home of Victorian football, where it's the Dandenong Thunder. All right, get ready, Brad. We're ready to go. Good afternoon and welcome to AAMI Park, the home of Victorian football, and it's the 2012 Victorian Premier League Grand Final, and it's the Oakleigh Cannons entertaining the Dandenong Thunder. It's 1 versus 2, and regardless of what happens this evening, Dandenong and Oakleigh will be playing and vying for their first ever Victorian Premier League title. I'm Simon McCuskey, one of your commentators for the evening. I'll be joined up in the box with Mark Van Arken. And Mark, it's going to be a huge afternoon. Oakleigh looking to go one step further from last year after finishing runners-up to Green Gully, and the Dandenong Thunder, can they be the first team in over 3 decades to secure the treble? They've got the State League Knockout Cup final, they've got the VPL Minor Premiership. Can they go one better? We'll find out. Through to you to the team sheets, and there's some big outs for both squads. Done. Excuse me. Thank you.
Number 2, James Cummins.
Number 8, Dane Milanovic. Number 11, Jesse Krencevic. Number 13, Evan Christodoulou. And number 35, Daniel Nisha. And taking you through for the Dandenong Thunder. Number 1, Stuart Webster. Number 5, Brian Brand. Number 6, Ross Thompson. Number 7, Liam Cooney. Number 8, Peter Marler. Number 11, Iqbal Jawadi. Number 13, Shane Rusepi, the skipper for Dandenong. Number 14, Craig Albin. Number 19, Nate Foster. Number 20, Luke Sherbert. Number 22, Sean McElroy. And the bench for the Thunder. Number 2, Enes Sevic. Number 4, Brendan Almalovsky. Number 9, Viton Kochari. And number 10, Feston Azizi. It is grand final day here in the Victorian Premier League. We're not too far away from kick-off. These two sides have met 3 times throughout season 2012, and they have not been separated. We've had a draw at Jack Edwards. We had a draw down in South Dandenong, and we had a draw in the finals a couple of weeks ago, as Simon just joins me up here in the stands. I was just saying, 240, in fact more than that, 270 minutes of football have been played between these sides, and we haven't had a clear winner, so it augurs well for extra time here today, and there are some big ins and outs for both teams. There absolutely is. Look, Hayden Doyle is a huge out for Oakleigh, no doubt about it, and that's for the Thunder. Losing Matthew Theodore in particular, and also Mullet as well, are some huge outs for the Thunder. But I tell you what, Mark, even before we get to kick off here, what an amazing atmosphere here, particularly the Dandenong Thunder the fans. They've travelled up the M1 down the southeastern suburbs, and they really have made a presence and made that northern end their home, and they are creating a really intimidating atmosphere for all here in AAMI Park. They sure are, the red and black army as they call themselves, Dandenong Thunder. Great to see them out in numbers. They of course are one of the better or maybe best supported clubs in the VPL, the Dandenong Thunder, so it's only fitting that they're here today. History will be made here in the next couple of hours. Neither of these sides have ever won a VPL title. One of them going to win one today. Absolutely, and as we mentioned in the introduction too, Mark, Oakleigh have just come so close. They've both been at the receiving end of grand final losses in the last couple of years. The Dandenong Thunder only 3 years ago losing to the Altona Magic in the big one on the big stage here, and the Cannons, who could forget one of the best grand finals you'll ever witness last year, and that game decided by extra time where Green Gully were crowned Victorian Premier League champions for 2011, but 2012 has just been a different script. Not many pundits would have had Oakleigh here on the big stage this afternoon, particularly with the turnover in management, Huskin Denovich leaving the club, and then Peter Zoyce taking the reign temporarily. Now Bill Theodoropoulos coming in at the helm, and they have been able to get this far with stability despite a huge turnover in coaches and management throughout the season. And as for the Dandenong Thunder,
finally, some history could be made at their end. They've ticked off winning the state league, the state knockout cup rather. We're ready for the national anthem.
Time. So there you go, Advance Australia Fair belting around AAMI Park. We must point out, of course, this is I've been calling it a curtain downer from the A-League game this afternoon. The Melbourne Heart, there was around 10,000 here for that game. Quite a few have stayed around, but you can definitely tell we've got a VPL crowd that's come in probably around the 4,000 or 5,000 mark. As you said, Dandenong fans making plenty of noise.
Absolutely at the northern end, and to give all of our viewers, wherever you're watching this broadcast around the world, to give you a bit of a context of the crowd, our end, the grandstand end, the media end, is literally full of mainly Oakleigh supporters and a crowd that have predominantly come to see this Victorian Premier League Grand Final, and on the outer and other ends are leftovers from the crowd from the A-League match between the Melbourne Heart and the Wellington Phoenix. And for the record, if you don't know the result of that match, it was a 1-1 draw between the Heart and the Phoenix, and we're going to call it the curtain raiser to the big one here, the A-League match to the Victorian Premier League Grand Final. And Mark, it's great to see. We haven't seen it over the last couple of years. We saw a few upsets in the qualifying final, particularly Green Gully and even Oakleigh over the years, but we're finally getting the grand final that everyone's after, 1 versus 2. And as mentioned at the start of the broadcast, nothing has separated these teams all season.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, Dandenong finished 8 points clear to win the minor premiership on top. So you're looking at that stat alone, you'd say they're the far superior team. But I called the game down at South Dandy a couple of weeks ago when these two teams met. On the night, Dandy probably, in a boxing parlance, probably had the points decision. But, of course, that one went down to penalties, and Oakleigh got through. I guess the question we always ask at this time, Dandenong had to go through a preliminary final last week against Green Gully. They did it quite easily, we might add. But they have had to play the 90 minutes of football last week. In fact, there was 7 minutes of added time. So they've had to play 100 minutes last week. Oakleigh have had the week off. You'd think that would go into their favour, although they're missing Hayden Doyle. Picked up a knee injury a couple of weeks ago. And you talk about last year's grand final, where it all changed for Oakleigh, in my opinion. They were on top. Hayden Doyle pulling the strings in the midfield. He went off with about 10-15 minutes to go from memory, and it just turned to Green Gully's favour. He's not there at all today. That's a big out for Oakleigh.
It's a huge out as well, and I think from memory too, Goodwin came off with injury late in the game, and that really meant Ricky Diaco was doing the work as a forward solo, and Oakleigh simply ran out of legs. And it really is going to be a fine one to call. As you mentioned, Oakleigh have had the week off, Mark, but the Dandenong Thunder obviously losing that game to penalties, and I really did think before the game started Oakleigh would be favourites, not only for having the week off, but for being able to pick from a full-strength team. But as the team sheets have come in, Doyle's missing, and for the Thunder, it looked like Craig Alban was going to be missing too to join Theodore and Mullet that wouldn't be participating in this match. But it's good news for the Thunder. In my opinion, one of the best defenders in the competition, Craig Alban, and he is a huge boost for the Thunder. He's, in my opinion, probably the top 2 to 3 starting centre halves in this competition. Could easily be playing at A-League or leagues above this competition. And for me, even though the Dandenong Thunder have not had the luxury of a week's rest, they will be slight favourites in my books as this game kicks off.
What's really interesting about Alvin, he's not a big guy, but he just, as I think I used the term last week in AFL parts, he plays tall. He gets in the air, he's got an amazing leap on him, so he's a presence in that regard, and he just patrols that defensive end of the park for the Dandenong Thunder. But the other outs for them, they are still big outs. Dandenong, Matthew Theodore and Andrew Mullet. maybe controversially sent off last week. He was absolutely shattered, the young fella. He's actually a Melbourne Heart junior as well, a youth team player there. I'm not quite sure what transpired during the week. I know Chris Taylor bailed me up after the game, wanted to get his hands on the match footage to take it to the tribunal, the judiciary. He obviously didn't get that reversed, and they are two big outs. But Alvin there puts it a little bit back in their favour.
No doubt about it. I think another element of the game too, where this game's going to be decided, and it's kick-off here. The Oakleigh Cannons in the blue kit, the Dandenong Thunder in the red and black kit. Oakleigh kicking from left to right of your screen in this first half. I think the forwards too are going to have a huge role to play, no doubt about it. Ricky Diaco, what a season, what a resurgence he's had as well as a footballer. Many pundits thought his football career was finished the minute he was pretty much offloaded off the Melbourne Victory's books. And look at the Dandenong Thunder, Sherburn and Nate Foster, two of the best forwards and strike weapons in this competition, coupled with some tall timber and Sean McElroy. They are going to be really hard for the Oakleigh defence to manage. And I reckon Nate Foster's mohawk is extra thick today. Have a look at it. The Mario Balotelli lookalike.
And in fact, here he is!
As I said, Nate.
Maybe the mullet was too thick there. He just couldn't get quite the touch on it. Let's have a look again on the replay. He's just lurking at the back, and how you can let that guy get in that position, I don't know, Oakleigh.
Well, Nathaniel Foster Bowen there, as we mentioned, the Mario Balotelli lookalike rather, for Italia. And that was a golden opportunity. They won't get better than that to open up the account 30 seconds in.
You're not wrong. This one sent long. Peter Zoyce, of course, prefers his side playing out from the back. Nice and long, hoof it away. That's the way they like to play it.
And what I love about Nathaniel Foster Bowen too, Mark, he really does play like a Balotelli. He's got the flair, he's got the talent, but thank heavens he doesn't have his temper.
So now Webster also goes long. Festerson was there. Drakos wins the header. Thompson for Dandy. Here's that man Diaco. And Craig Alvin just letting Ricky Diaco know he's here. Alvin again. Decent old push and shove in the early going there. Luke Walker just trying to test Craig Alvin's fitness out there, Simon.
And Alvin not impressed with the challenge too. No doubt about it. A free kick, and that was the end of the matter. Another chance for the Thunder. And this time, well, some miscommunication there for my liking between Drakos and also Luis Italiano. Should have been easy pickings there for Italiano. Drakos there nearly gave the Thunder a sniff with another chance on goal. 2.5 minutes played in this contest. It's 0-0 in the 2012 Victorian Premier League Grand Final. The Oakleigh Cannons up against the Dandenong Thunder. First versus second. The Cannons finishing outright second, winning their last game away against the Bentley Greens to secure second position outright. And as Mark mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the Dandenong Thunder have been the runaway team, the runaway leaders in this competition, winning the minor premiership by a clear 8 points. And they've already collected some silverware. They've won the Victorian Premier League title for finishing minor premiers. They've won the Knockout Cup, and there we go, Oakleigh's first shot. Instinctively fired in on the turn, Festerson, but straight to Webster, inexperienced hands.
Has shown throughout these finals so far, Festerson, that he's a bit of a goal poacher. Did very well there. To his chagrin, it was straight down Stu Webster's throat. And a whistle here, and it's big Casper Anderson getting some talking to from the referee. And Luke Sherburn, not only is he a very talented player, he's a fiery player.
It really is a sense of deja vu in this match. But the last time these two teams played where I was commentating was actually round 20. And Festerson was in the middle of the action and the thick it all early on. I think from memory collected a yellow card early on in the piece, and nothing's changed 6 weeks down the track.
So Brian Brand resides over a free kick. 30 yards. It's a range that they found luck with last week. Straight into the wall. Follows it back up. Drakos. Kearney. And now a clearance for Oakleigh. Will be left for Alvin. Clash there with Zorich. Now Drakos again. Talk about important players and marshalling the defence. He's just a cool head back there, isn't he? Ari Drakos.
Plenty of experience over the years, whether it be with Oakleigh Bulleen. Whittlesey comes to mind as well. He's played at several clubs. And one thing's for certain, Dracos, you're going to get a full 90 minutes worth. And one thing that Oakleigh and Dandenong will really need to take into account, really similar circumstances to this round 20 match, where Dandenong just continued to pepper the goals early on, continued to attack. Oakleigh absorbed the pressure and really hit the Thunder several times on the counter, and the Thunder will need to be careful. Even though that game did finish in a 0-0 draw, it could have been anyone's game, and in fact there was some quality goalkeeping from that man at the football, Italiano, and his counterpart at the opposite end, Webster, that really did ensure that game didn't finish 2-2 or 3-3 apiece. Nothing has really separated these teams all season.
Well, as we said, they've played, just doing my quick mathematics, I think it's 4.5 hours of football, and nothing's been able to separate them. We had to go to extra time. In fact, we got a goal on either side of our extra time when they played 3 weeks ago in the finals. In fact, 2 weeks ago. And then we went to the penalty shootout, which went Oakleigh's way. After the game, Peter Zoyce was still steaming that the game had been moved from Sunday to Friday. I said, Pete, calm down, you've won the game, you're in the grand final. Now Dracos from range will float it in. Bodies in the box, straight down the throat of Stu Webster. And I think that might be Kearney.
And it was a waste of a free kick there. And Dracos had Diaco short, up to go long. Easy pickings for Webster. Speaking of Devil Sherman, one of the league's leading goal scorers.
20, I think. 20, and he got 3 last week, a hat-trick, although 2 from the spot, so that got him there. But he's a guy that's just going to pop up and score at will. And he's one of that Oakleigh defence. And what's happened here?
Now, Rexepi has been pinned to the obstruction. First yellow card. It's interesting to see what the replay indicates here. Wow. Had a look at it, and it didn't look to be too much in it, but the referee, the man with the whistle, Brenton Haywood, no shadow of a doubt, gave that yellow card rather. Don't no early shower there for Shane Rexepi, that yellow card. But for me, once again, the test that a yellow card could have been warranted. There wasn't much demonstration there from the Dandenong Thunder players, and the referee's whistle from Brenton Haywood was immediately onto it. No second guessing.
It's Ricky Diaco who sits upon it. Alarm bells will be ringing for Dandenong. They've got the wall there, and lurking around the wall is Goran Zoric.
And he has a highlights reel too, Ricky Diaco, finishing from this distance.
He can do it. Willie. Close, but no cigar. We'll have another
Plenty
look.
of power, just needed for it to dip there at that vital moment. Just couldn't manage it as indicated from the replay.
And as we just play with my phone here, it is nearly 8 minutes gone. 0-0 here in the VPL Grand Final. The only action in terms of the referee's book has been a yellow card a few moments ago to the skipper from Dandenong, Rexepi.
Really good refereeing there. Nathaniel Foster Bowen there, obstructed ironically, and I think the culprit was Frankie Lagana, and he thought there was going to be some sort of advantage. It wasn't to be. Kearney wasn't the recipient of it on the flank, hence play called back. Speaking of finishing from long range, Ross Thompson, remember he scored an absolute scorcher for Hume. I think the year he won the gold medal too, from a similar distance. That's a great ball into the box too.
Man just trying to stretch the defence there. It was big Casper Anderson just nodding it over. So the first corner going Dandenong's way.
Great vision too there from Thompson. Really thought he was going to fire it into the target zone, test his luck, look for a ricochet.
So nothing much doing. I heard a whistle for a second there. I thought the whistle had gone. Italiano looks to play it. We'll see plenty of that throughout the afternoon from the Oakleigh Cannons. Playing for the back inside now for Hornos, who does enjoy taking players on. He does it here in the middle, straight to Webster.
We've seen plenty of that, great build-ups, and it's just the set pieces or the cross letting both teams down. And on all occasions, they've literally picked the goalkeeper, forwards rather, not being the recipient of some really good balls delivered in the box, and some good pieces of play too.
So what I love the body language of Chris Taylor on the touchline for the Dandenong Thunder. Just got the hands on the hips, doing the teapot for us.
He's ready to pose for a fashion catalogue there.
He's just so calm though. He's a pretty straight to the point kind of character, Chris Taylor, but he's pretty cool, calm and collected when he's down in that technical zone.
Well, he's really up there with one of Victorian football's most experienced managers. Plenty of experience. Success as a player, looking for it again as a coach.
So a perfect spring day here in Melbourne. Could not ask for better conditions for this game of football. And of course, the pitch itself. Bit of heavy contact there.
This could be another yellow, and it is.
It is.
Luke Walker, Texas Ranger, in the books. That's after 9 minutes.
In fact, something might have just ticked over 11, so it's still 0-0. Luke Walker gets the yellow card, so just giving the players something to think about early. Something from memory we didn't see when they met a couple of weeks ago. Nothing too sinister so far, but the yellow's coming out. That missed everyone. Kearney be there to clean up. Kearney wins. Does he win the corner, or is it going to be a throw? It'll be a throw. We've got the rail in front of me there.
Definitely the right decision there, once again, from referee Haywood. This man, Shepton Marler, for me, one of the silent assassins for Dandenong. Really overshadowed in particular by Theodore in midfield, but he's had a stellar season. He and Jawadi for me.
In the corner.
And Kearney, great with the set pieces in the corners. Dandenong have had the upper hand with play, just haven't had the chance to capitalise. 11.5 minutes lapsed in this first half. It's 0-0 here at AAMI Park, the home of Victorian football. Once again, good ball. This time, picking out Sherman. Just couldn't get the header on target.
Let's have another look, Simon. Sherman is dynamite in the box, but that one just wide. He was being well marked, and as well he should be.
It was a great ball. Barely moved for it too. Didn't have to leap. Didn't leave his spot. Great corner executed from Liam Kearney. That was a nudge. It's taken quickly, but not in its correct spot.
Yeah,
wow.
Too quickly for the ref's liking, or certainly not from the right place. Just trying to catch them. It was Nate Foster.
It's a 50-50 one, isn't it? 9 times out of 10 you'd seen the player take it quickly. But in hindsight, it was a good yard or two away from where the incident occurred.
Well, the way it ran, Foster is a very fast player, but he's not that fast. So he probably would have been struggling to get on the end of it. So probably a good result, all told, for the Thunder.
Rick Seppi, another man deadly with set pieces. Brand looking for the flick, coming. Sense of urgency there. Wasn't sure where that was going to go. And that's an okay result there for the Cannons. It looked like another shot was imminent for the Thunder. Jawadi. Another deep ball in. Kearney will need assistance. Holds it up. And good play there from Thompson. Behind play, looking to direct traffic to say assistance was there in the form of Marler, but doing well there with the defending was, I think it was coming. That's a good result for the Cannons, nevertheless. They got themselves out of trouble.
No help for you there at all, Simon. Apologies.
Apologies. We're blinded by the rail. Actually, Samuel Mitchelson.
Yeah. Look at Kearney. Oh, and a little boot in the face. It was inadvertent.
He was really smart, Ted Festerson, not to concede the handball. And this time coming.
He'd seen enough. He knew the danger was coming. They were charging in to the 18-yard box for the Dandenong Thunder. They've got another corner, and the Red and Black Army are alive behind the goals at the northern end of AAMI Park. It's going to be a skipper, Rex, to take the corner.
Rick Seppi made his aim at Richmond before joining the Thunder. The captain with a corner, punched away by Italiano. Jawadi thought about it the first time. The flag was down.
So you already had Foster and Sherman.
Exactly, and it looked like Sherman there thought the flag was going to go up and actually froze.
He was rooted to the
Interesting
spot.
play all around. We see from the replay, see Sherbin there actually stopped for a moment, and then he realised the flag stayed up.
Tell you what's good policy. How about you bang the ball home
And see whether the flag
see if
goes
flag
up
goes
or not.
up later. That's right. Play to the whistle would be the instructions from the coaching staff, no doubt. And Sherbin's not the kind of bloke who's backwards and going forward. So surprising he did that. Nonetheless, it scooted through. So we've played around the quarter hour, in fact, dead on the quarter hour here in the VPL Grand Final. Despite having the weight of attacking possession, it's Dandenong 0, Oakleigh 0.
And despite being a 0-0 scorecard, Dandenong have had the bulk of the chances, the bulk of the play. They just haven't been able to capitalise, and this time they take a free kick quickly. Bowen. This time Kearney has options in the box, but another cross down the drain. Had a free target there inside the box. Luke Sherbin. And Mark, another wasted opportunity for the Thunder. How many of these could come back to rue them?
Well, we talked about that right throughout the finals. You don't get your opportunities or take your opportunities. They come back to bite you. We saw it last week with Green Gully. Green Gully were probably the better team for 15, 20 of the minutes of the opening half hour. But then after that, Dandenong scored 2 quick goals, went into half time with that lead. And just like that, Green Gully, as experienced as they are, their heads are down, the whole body language changed, and that might happen here today. Oakleigh have barely gone forward, but someone like Ricky Diaco there forward as the Lone Ranger up front, all it takes is a goal from him. Wooshka, all this hard work from Dandenong equals 0.
And that is certainly Oakleigh's strength. Rebounding on the counter. They could be up against it, particularly with the run of play, and they somehow find an avenue to forge an attack. Diaco. Look at the pressure there from Alvin.
He wants a card, Craig Alvin. That ain't going to be coming, let me tell you.
He's been a frustrated man. He's had some attention, Craig Alvin. He's just a lucky man to be playing full stop. There was a question mark on him with injury, particularly with his knee.
And there we can see.
And it's a huge,
big crowd here.
Huge inclusion for the Thunder.
Big crowd. I'll just jump over there, Simon, here. As you said, on our side, we're just up behind the crowd here. Packed in to the lower level here at AAMI Park. The smart ones on this side don't want to sit on the other side looking into the sun,
Against
of course.
The sun.
But around 5 or so thousand, maybe more, who've stuck around.
And great to see plenty of Melbourne Heart and even a few Wellington Phoenix shirts as well that have stayed for a double header of football. The best of National League and State League football. And frankly, great to see both the national and state bodies cooperating, and in particular, Melbourne Heart using their home match, their first home match for the season, to ensure that a crowd can enjoy the best of both worlds, national football and the big dance in state football.
They nearly enjoyed a Honos Lambros goal for a moment there. This is Diaco. We'll look for support from Drakos. He gets it. Drakos floats it in. In the middle is Esterson. Back. Alvin. He's doing exactly what we expected him to do. Hasn't had to do that much work so far. But any time it's gone in there, despite Ricky Diaco looming large, that one is a poor ball in. Ross Thompson trying a few futsal skills. Looked like the A-League ad season 1 for a second there. Now Mitchinson. Thompson wins it back, but then loses it as soon as he gets it. Festerson. Lagana. And who will go? It'll go the way of the Dandenong Thunder.
Oakleigh just starting to find their feet the last couple of minutes. It really had been one-way traffic in that quarter of an hour. We've just seen, in particular, Festerson, Mitchison holding a bit of the football. And Dandenong just really haven't had that steady flow, that steady momentum that has been going all their way the first 15 minutes.
Sherbin just overran that one. The demonstrative Hoshman.
There's a relief man there, Casper Anderson. He was the sole defender there. Had Sherbin latched onto that pass.
So Brand, the Michael Beecham lookalike for mine.
No doubt about it. What a season he's had as well, particularly the first half of the season. Definitely a contender for the gold medal. Speaking of the gold medal, congratulations to Nick Hegarty of Hume City, collecting the gold medal midweek. Here we say Bowen.
So
the cross was deep, but it was actually a good cross in hindsight. That was all presenting itself for the Thunder up front.
They had McElroy on in the middle. He was the only number. He was well tracked. So Foster elected to send it long to the other side of the pitch for Sherburn. And a look of disgust from Sherburn as they cop up possession. Now through Honos. But impressed with Honos throughout the finals for Oakleigh. Not too many players we see at Victorian or even A-League level that just enjoy taking players on. Just going around rather than, or through I should say, rather than around their opponents. He's been fantastic at that. A real live wire. And he really complements Ricky Diaco well. For me, Ricky Diaco really is that old school type style of striker. Loves that one-on-one contest. Loves to hold the football down and then feed it 2 runs either side of him. And there's no doubt about it. Lambros Honos fits the bill. See, Sherburn just gets to his feet. Except he will take the free kick for the Thunder. And this one, probably a little bit too far out to score, but certainly can at least drop it in a dangerous spot for the Thunder. This is where they need to improve their game, the Thunder. They've had plenty of set pieces and corners, just haven't been able to find the target. And this time, clearing was Walker for Oakleigh. Thompson will send it back, Alvin. And he has plenty to choose from up front. Brand looking, was the option there, the tall timber, the defender working down. Kearney just couldn't hold it the second time, and this is where the Cannons are at their best on the counter. Festerson wins it, and that will be a yellow card, you would have thought, coming Shepton Marler's way. Easy decision there. The assistant saw it, so too the referee. Festerson was off, simple as that. So that one coming up at the 21st minute, 0-0, 21 minutes. Here in the Victorian Premier League Grand Final. Good crowd, good atmosphere here at AAMI Park for the decider. That one day in October, of course. You'll need to be careful there too, Shepton Marler. I know he's given away a yellow card and he'll have to be cautious for the rest of the game. It was actually a good result there for the Thunder because Festerson was away and had broke through the defence. Drakos set with a set piece. Well held there by Webster. Thought he was going to be obstructed there for a moment, but held his composure and got it first time. Very experienced goalkeeper in this competition is Stuart Webster. And congratulations too to Stuart Webster being announced the Goalkeeper of the Year at the Gold Medal Awards on Monday night. The best in Victorian football. So some build-up from McElroy in the box. Anderson again. He's been asked to do that a number of times so far in the opening 20-odd minutes here in the VPL Grand Final. Some discussions going on at the moment on the Oakleigh bench with Peter Zoyce and his co-coach down there, Bill Theodoropoulos, having a good chat. And that one, well, less said about that. What was that? Was that a pass or was that a shot? What happened there? I don't know, to be honest with you. I was watching the Oakleigh bench. I think we both were. I looked at it and thought, well, was it an ambitious attempt from long range? Or was it a cross gone haywire? It's, of course, the other end. Stu Webster at one, Lewis Italiano at the other. Getting plenty of advice from the red and black army behind him here. Thompson. And he's had a head clash there with an Oakleigh player. So we'll halt play for just a moment. Not sure who the player is down, Simon. If you've got a number, in fact it is Festerson. It's a great name too, isn't it? Rasmus Festerson. What's interesting, Luke Sherburn last week when he scored, he had his shirt underneath. It was for a young girl in the UK. Just throwing that to the bench there. So if he's got any special public service announcements today, obviously decided he's a bit too hot to be wearing the undershirt. But taking away the sarcasm there too regarding Rasmus Festerson, what an important player he's been too for Oakleigh this final series. We spoke about Honos, but Festerson for me has really supplemented him wide. And that battle between he and also Shepton Marler this afternoon has been an intriguing one. Solid challenge. Anderson. That was a vital one there from Anderson. Bowen was off and racing. And there he is again. Everywhere. He's covered plenty of territory in the space of seconds. He's a big fella too, so he's doing well to cover the ground. Thompson charged down by Walker. And Mark, just some situation, 25 minutes in this first half. The Thunder started off with a bang, but Oakleigh beginning to find their feet in this contest, and as per the status quo for the season, it's been an even affair. Yeah, you're right. They were dominant for the first quarter hour. But Oakleigh have brought it back to a 50-50 ball game as Thompson's header. In fact, it was Sean McElroy sent that one across, just couldn't anchor himself as well as he would have liked.
And McElroy there, I think, was having a chat there to Nathaniel Foster-Bowen. Just would have liked him there on the far post. Having a chat saying that was placed for you, ready to tap in and potentially challenge Italiano. Italiano's eyes, no doubt about it, were there to cover McElroy. Unguarded would have been Nathaniel Foster-Bowen.
Shervin and Foster-Bowen are continuing that dialogue. Shervin giving plenty of advice about where he'd like his strike partner situated. They can't be doing it too badly, those two. They've scored about 30 goals between them throughout season 2012. Webster. Clear. Walker. High elbow there from Thompson.
Thought that was going to be pulled up from the referee. No doubt about it there. High elbow on Walker. But against the refereeing, they really haven't missed much this afternoon. Just under half hour played in this first half. That man again, Anderson. Hasn't he been in the mix the last 5 minutes?
Is it the Jimmy Rooney medal for the best on ground? Is it? I think it is. You presented it the last few years.
I think it is.
So it'd be my early vote. Not that I get a vote, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Nor do I, Mark. But I tell you what, well, I got it wrong last year. Definitely thought Bonner Labrodovic for Oakleigh was the best player on the ground, and I think it was number 8 for Green Gully, Dobson, I think, that collected the medal last season in the decider.
So Foster here will look to lay it off for Kearney. He connects. They're in place here defensively. But Luke Walker, just a snatcher from Kearney, isn't successful. Pulled back now for Marler. Shervin looking for a run from Shervin. In fact, it's McElroy. Ends up kicking into himself.
And it's been a very deliberate ploy, no doubt about it, from Bill Theodoropoulos, giving Kearney, Liam Kearney, number 7, no room for Dandenong. He's been closely checked by Samuel Mitchison and Luke Walker along the flanks.
Bit clumsy there from Iqbal Jawadi. Free kick, nothing more.
And now Manfeston in the thick of it again.
So, just a moment to pause in the VPL Grand Final. 27 minutes down, still scoreless. This one for Diaco, closely tracked by Alvin. Ricky is a great player, but just too slow there. By the time he turned on the ball, Alvin was right there.
As we mentioned before, he's one of these players where he loves holding the ball, particularly in the middle of the park and laying it off. And for me, that's why it's just been a wonderful combination. Diaco in particular with Honus, and why Oakleigh really have scored plenty of goals to earn their way into a grand final, taking the exception that major semi-final with the Thunder was a low-scoring affair.
Now, that is Luke Walker, already on a yellow card. Again, nothing too sinister, but just really poorly timed, that one. And, geez, you wonder if he didn't already have a yellow card, would he have copped the yellow there? I think the ref's thinking, well, geez, I can't give him another yellow for that, but he might. Look, again, nothing too harsh, that one, but just really just sloppy and poorly timed.
I think in defence of the referees, if a call needs to be made and it's consistent with the laws of the game, it will be made. We saw last week several players being sent off when the stakes were high, qualifying for a grand final. We saw Matt Theodore in tears with that card.
Andrew Mallett.
Andrew Mallett, rather.
Yep.
Apologies. Sent off in tears. And the call had to be made, and the referee made it. But I tell you what, you wouldn't want to do it again, Walker, because I think the next one will be a yellow, and it will be an early shower.
So no goals so far. And we had 2 send-offs, of course, in that game last week. Andrew Mallett saw red in the 55th minute. And then Jeffrey Fleming, the big Kiwi veteran, was sent off in the 75th for a second yellow. And I'll tell you what, just going there, Frankie Lagana, plenty of experience. He's just fallen over the ball, knew the free kick was coming. One of my pet hates, though, Simon, is when the players grab the ball knowing they're going to get the free kick. Because if they get the free kick, mate, guess what that is?
It's a penalty prior to the whistle being called, exactly. No doubt about it. There was a fine line there for Frankie Lagana to exercise.
You've made me cranky there, Frankie, for that one. Anyway, we move on.
Well, we don't want a cranky mutt and a cranky. No doubt about it.
That's right. Nothing rhymes with my surname, unfortunately. But anyway, Ricky Diaco wins the free kick. And now, probably just about 5 yards too far out So what will they do here, Oakleigh? Will it be a set piece? Or will we see Frankie, my man Frankie Lagana, go for glory? In fact, he's left it, so it's going to be Adu Drakos. He's been asked to bring the ball back about 5 metres. I was about to say he's 5 metres too far out to score. He's given himself the extra 5 yards.
I thought for a moment Oakleigh being slow, but finally that tall timber coming in the box, Anderson and Walker. And going for glory was Drakos. But he's just collected a few frequent fly points in the process. That ball nowhere near the target. Certainly ambitious and a waste, because definitely Anderson and Walker would have been my choosing, but it's easy from up here in the box, Mark. The pressure's down there on the pitch. This is exactly what you play for, 26 plus weeks. It all started on a journey in March, and it's into this second week in October, rather. And this is exactly what every club in Victorian football strives for. Oakleigh and Dandenong on the cusp of creating history. Either of these teams will be collecting their first Victorian Premier League title. Anderson, he's not out of trouble now. The offside call. That will be interesting. Not sure there was much in that, but the assistant was adamant.
Will we get another crack? We won't. So we won't get to see what the situation was there. But I tell you what, it was our boy Anderson who'd won it in the air, but then nodded it down the wrong way. And Foster is nothing if not an absolute speed demon. You don't want to be giving him any space. Lagana now through the middle. Lagana, your fancy will go wide. Rexepi was there, could not intercept. Numbers box for Oakleigh. Now Rexepi, that was another clumsy challenge. He was entitled to go for it, Simon, but there was an opponent in his path. He had to know that, had to be aware of it.
Exactly, and it was definitely a free kick. Luckily for Rexepi, it was just outside the box. Could have had more dire consequences. And I think it's Mitchison there. He is getting up in one piece. It was a clumsy challenge, no doubt about it. Did not warrant a card. It was a clumsy challenge, but Rexepi, I'm not sure if he was aware where the challenge was actually made, because that was inches outside the box. And this is Ricky Diaco territory.
Diaco completely mishit that one, though. That was more Stephen Gerrard than Ricky Diaco. So another opportunity goes begging. So we're talking about Dandenong ruining their missed chances. It's now starting to even up into the territory where Oakleigh will be starting to think, well, geez, we wouldn't have minded having a goal. Foster Bowen. Still Foster Bowen. They keep giving him room. They've tripped him up. And play-on's the call from the referee. And Dandenong, they don't like it.
Well, they don't like it, but the reality was it was the perfect tackle. No doubt about it. The football came in first. And it was the perfect tackle. Samuel Mitchison on that occasion.
Samala.
Certainly was. And you've got to be careful. Jawadi. Here's Mala. McElroy will be too deep for him. But getting back to that piece of play there, Mark, no doubt about it, the tackle there from Mitchison was first class, because you've really got to be careful when you're going to be laying in the feet, trying to tackle a player the quality of Foster Bowen's calibre. He's just that fast. The reality is the football could be gone a second after the tackle's made. He could have easily clipped his ankle or foot. He didn't. He collected the football. And it was right in the eyes of the assistant, also the referee. It was the correct call. And I think we're witnessing a great game of football, but the only letdown has been the set pieces, the crosses, the free kicks. Just really haven't found their target in the box either side.
30, just about 34 minutes down. Dandenong Thunder, our minor premiers, State Cup champs, they're nil. Oakleigh are also nil. Lions' share of chances in the early going the way of the Dandenong Thunder. They've had 2 yellow cards so far. Shane Rexepi and Speta Marla. Sherburn gives away the free kick there. Welshman doesn't like it. Peter Zoyce barks the instructions from the Oakleigh bench. And Walker will take the kick. Goes long. Just looking for Zorich, couldn't get him. Zorich, no, it's still Ricky Diaco now. Zorich will be the one making the run into the box. eventually. Here he is, chopped off. So, chance for a counter from the Dandenong Thunder.
And 2 live wires for Oakleigh. Diaco and Zorich have really been quiet in this contest. In fact, the attacks have come from that man that was trying to pressure Jawadi there. Honus and also Festerson. Diaco and Zorich have been really quiet. And Zorich, I think, was, in fact, I may be wrong here, but I think he might have been part of South Melbourne's winning team in 06 when they won the championship. I may be wrong.
You're testing my memory.
I'll need to go back to the history books. But there's a few players out there. Tasman Choglu was, no doubt about it. He's on the bench for Oakleigh. Was part of that team.
He was definitely where he was the skipper. So he was holding the trophy aloft. Now Sherbin. Looking for Foster Bowen. But it's not well hit. And now Festerson does very well.
He's been great, no doubt about it. Festerson and Anderson are definitely the early contenders for the Jimmy Rooney medal.
Oh, gee. Luke Walker, he's already on a yellow. Again, not much in it. It was just silly.
A very lax challenge.
Didn't have to put the body in there, but he did. So, again, for a bloke who's on a yellow card, I know there's not much into it, but when you're on a yellow card...
And this is what I meant about Mitchelson timing his tackle with perfection, because Walker went in a split second too late, didn't collect the football. He collected Foster Bowen instead.
Lagana does well, strong in the tackle there, but then he's frustrated by Frankie Lagana's through ball. Diaco, however, wins the free kick, and again, Brian Brand just trying to push the ball back.
And it's a rare mistake from Craig Alvin. He's been instrumental commanding the back four. And there may have been a premeditated tackle too, because he knew Diaco got around him. It was really a solo run, unchallenged, into an open goal with only Webster to beat. But nevertheless, can one of these teams capitalise from a free kick? Here's Lagana.
No.
Another anticlimax. 37 minutes, 0-0, and we could have easily had a few goals apiece.
Definitely could have had a couple of goals by now. And it gets to the point, as we, I guess, near half-time, where both teams will be frustrated with missed opportunities in the opening half. But it has been the story of these two teams, sublimely talented teams, but we haven't been able to pull them apart so far in season 2012. It took a penalty shootout to do it a couple of weeks ago. We have another one today. Only time will tell. Kearney back for Jawadi, and goes all the way back for Craig Alvin. Now Brand. Sherbin tries to bring it down for Foster, and well.
Now, I tell you what, there's no doubt about it. The free kick was there, but my question was, I think it was inside the box.
It sure was, so I'm confused. That happened inside the 18-yard box, yet the free kick is going to be done at the top of the D.
And the Oakleigh Cannons can really count themselves lucky there. I tell you what, Mark, unless the foul happened outside the infringement area, or outside the box, and then they eventually made their way inside, I can't see any why it wasn't a penalty.
Thompson takes it, and it hits the post. The right post could have got any closer. Ross Thompson took it quickly. They were probably waiting for Sherbin to take it. Either way, we're going to have a corner for Dandenong Thunder.
I think it was coming there, holding his opponent there too, but brilliant save from Italiano.
In fact, Italiano got it. It wasn't the post at all.
He kicked it out.
Another set piece. Now Alvin. Back inside. Drakos there. Doesn't get the bounce he would have liked. Gets another opportunity. And then Sherbin puts it out for a goal kick. So a reprieve.
Yeah, once again, I know it is a difficult assignment refereeing in any league, in any game of football. But boy, from up here, it certainly looked like a penalty. I could be wrong.
Well, it happened inside the 18-yard box. Simple as that. So if you've given the free kick, it's a penalty. Anyway, we move on. No doubt will be a talking point with Chris Taylor after the match. especially if the result doesn't go Dandenong Thunder's way.
There was definitely some holding, no doubt about it.
Oh, it was definitely holding because the free kick was given. So, anyway.
This game progresses, and the Thunder nearly opened up the account with a bullet there from Thompson. Oh, and finally, we saw a set piece that was nearly converted. And finally, one of these goalkeepers tested during free play. Just one last thing on the penalty. I apologise because I didn't sort of call it because I thought, well, hang on, he's pointing that way, but he's not pointing to the spot, so to speak. So, no doubt about it, there was confusion there for a couple of seconds. 2-2 at AAMI Park. Lovely run there. Jawadi laying it up. McElroy. It won't be a corner, but it's a throw in dangerous territory for the Cannons. Kearney will offload it. Marla. A waste there. Festerson. One step ahead was Alvin. And Diaco infringing Alvin. And the referee has been really busy with the whistle the last 10 minutes, no doubt about it. Just some niggling and some unsportsmanlike fouls creeping into this contest. Thompson, bullet-like pass. He knew who his target was, Brand. Rexepi, nearly out-muscled there by Zorich. Kearney has Brand on offer on the inside. The ricochet didn't fall his way. That man again, Anderson clearing. But to restart the attack, Alvin, the transfer, Marla. And it certainly is a crowded midfield at the moment. The Thunder, they're going to have to play this right. Hopefully playing quite deep.
Sherman. Nearly an interception there for Dandenong Thunder. Trying to work in tight spaces at the moment. Oakleigh. Diaco down for Lagana. Just loses his handle. Walker. Nearly had his pocket picked by McElroy. So slowly but surely, it's now Drakos down the left flank for Oakleigh. He's looking down the line for Zorich, but again, Zorich has been quiet. And that through ball, just trying to link up Lagana, nowhere near it.
Good play there from Zorich, except he thought he was under no pressure whatsoever. Did all the hard work, snatched possession back, but couldn't offload and find the target himself.
I could be wrong, but Lou Italiano found himself about 5 metres outside the 18-yard box, and his first instinct as a keeper for a second was to go pick the ball up, just for a millisecond. I don't know if I'm imagining that. Anyway, Dandenong now through Thompson. They'll go long, and the flag's gone up for offside.
I don't know where that was called from. There's no doubt about it. Sherman wasn't offside, nor was Foster Bowen. And Rexepi was definitely in an offside position.
Foster Bowen now through the middle, finds Kearney. Foster Bowen again, he runs over the ball, and that is just not good enough for a player of his ilk.
And I think he caught Foster Bowen there off guard, because I think expecting the ball was this man Sherman. He was going to play the dummy. Foster Bowen didn't expect it, but now Sherman with the football. Thompson there on the edge of the box for support.
Oh.
And nearly a tale of errors creeping in there. Thompson looking to whip it in. Charged down by Lagana. And he had stage fright there for a moment. Sherman held on for it for too long.
What to say about Luke Sherman is you give him an inch, he takes a mile, but there you gave him an inch and he's just basically absolutely muffed it up. But anyway, Kearney now. Another chance for Dandenong, being tracked well by Drakos. Now forced to come back out. And in the end, it's Lagana. He chops it off, and then, well, certainly a theatrical performance there from Rexepi. Let's see if he's actually hurt. We've got a close-up here. Kids loving themselves on the screen there.
Well, the buck stopped with us, Mark, throughout this commentary this afternoon. We've called it where we saw it, and it just looked like a simple contest. A simple clash.
Yeah, look, got a little bit of a clip.
Innocuous.
Yep.
Accidental.
Probably made the most of it, Shane. But he's all right. He's back up on his feet. And this big Dandenong crowd, they would have liked to have seen a goal so far, the Red and Black Army. Well, a lot of them in white as well, of course.
Wow.
Part of the club kits there.
They may have a few minutes in this first half to do so. The fourth official not out yet with the amount of extra time we'll be playing in this first half. We're on the cusp, rather, of playing 45 minutes in this first half. You think there'll be at least 2 minutes at least. Thompson. He's had a great game for Dandenong. Sherburn. Kearney. A patient build-up, and we've got it right. 2 minutes, and that's exactly what's going to be played. 2 minutes added on in this first half.
I haven't got it right once throughout the final, so you're here and you pick it straight away.
It's called Simon Says.
Here we go. I like it. So obviously not too many injuries. Certainly no goals so far.
And Kearney now with a great opportunity for the Thunder to take the advantage leading into half-time. It's a high corner. Brand needs to win it. Italiano there, nearly nudged out. McElroy, Rexepi. Set up for a pulsating finish.
Said before the game that we may well go to extra time and penalties. It's not the way some people like it, but I guess I don't mind the old penalties. The drama. Brand down for Kearney. Anderson forced to clear again. Walker had Thompson upon him. And then eventually the free kick goes Oakleigh's way. Ross Thompson don't like it.
And well, not sure what Brand was thinking there. It's very easy from up here, but he was completely unchallenged, unmarked. And he had a free header there on goal, but he opted to square it back in. I think he was looking there for Sherburn. And a great opportunity there to finish on the near post.
Great ball now for Zorich. Looks to follow up his own work. Brand is over it.
Just enough power on that to guide it out. Hasn't he covered some territory, Brand, in the thick of it only 10 seconds ago where he had an opportunity to finish. And immediately at the other end denying Honos any chance on goal. And Zorich too.
Now Webster. And that is enough, says the referee. So, half-time, the Victorian Premier League Grand Final. Plenty of chances, but no goals. Oakleigh 0, Dandenong 0. We'll be back with the second half action shortly. So Ramon's coming on. Seems off.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the second half of the 2012 Victorian Premier League Grand Final between the Dandenong Thunder and Oakleigh Cannons, and a substitute being made for the Oakleigh Cannons as we speak. But before we get to the substitution, it's 0-0. I'm Simon McCuskey, and joining me in the box is Mark Van Arken. And Mark, a very even first half. The Thunder got off with a bit of a bang, but Oakleigh have found their feet, and scoring chances, really, with the exception of Ross Thompson's free kick, have been really hard to find.
Yeah, look, you're correct. Out of the gates massively with the Dandenong Thunder. Worked their way back into the contest. Did the Oakleigh Cannons through the second half of that first half. And probably by the end, yeah, the chances probably still just slightly in the favour of Dandenong Thunder. And it's Sam Mitchinson, number 15, who's made way from Amazan Savson-Choglu. So a half-time change from Peter Zoyce, and Bill Theo. So wonder what's at play there. You would assume tactical. I certainly see, although we didn't actually see a lot of Mitchinson, to be honest, in that first half. Certainly didn't call his name out too often.
No, and in fact, unfortunately for Mitchinson, the most contentious element of play involved in coming in that potentially penalty decision. Be really good to have a good look at the replay of that, whether the foul occurred just outside the box at the start of play, but it looked like it was in all the way. But that's a formality now as the second half kicks off here between the Thunder and the Cannons, and this time it's the Cannons kicking from right to left of your screen. That's Brian Brand.
All Brand. Well done, Simon. So Brian Brand down for Walker, who's picked up a yellow and may well have picked up a second for a couple of, I guess, silly fouls he's given away. Anderson, who has been super creative with his clearances, but has had a mountain of them so far. Now it's McElroy being tracked by Zorich. McElroy inside, Sherman's there. Header is over the bar.
Great play there from McElroy. Did really well there to find an assist out of nothing, and we'll see on the replay. He turns Zorich inside out. Great ball whipped into the box. Just couldn't be kept down there, but once again, the Thunder started off with a bang in the first half and had a header from Foster Bowen, I think it was, only 30 seconds in, and they've started the second half in similar circumstances.
Tell you what, it's good work for McElroy, considering Zorich is, of course, a very quick, light on his feet, nimble little player. So to turn him inside out is no mean feat. This one will run for Craig Alvin, as we said pre-game. Your mail, Simon, was he wasn't even going to play today, but certainly hasn't looked any worse wear at all for any injury that he might have brought into the game. He's been his usual self, just patrolling the defence.
He looks like he is under an injury cloud, no doubt about it. We normally see Craig Alvin decide to run in deep, particularly when there's an opportunity for the Thunder to score from a set piece. That really hasn't happened this afternoon. He's really marked his territory deep in his own half. So he's obviously playing with an injury cloud. We did think it was a knee injury, but I'm no doctor, just a commentator, so don't leave that to me.
The other big out, as we just recap for people who have just joined us at half-time, Aidan Doyle with a knee injury, picked up against Dandenong a fortnight ago in the major semi-final. So not here today, and you can see that in the Oakleigh's play, particularly early. That hurt them. Italiano, in fact, well off his line, did well, shoots the call. The Dandenong, Kearney heard it, but it was way too far out for him.
And you could see exactly what he wanted to do there, Kearney. Really thought Italiano was way off his line, but he made ground quickly to get back in. Well, he was at least 6 yards or less from his own line by the time he cleared that ball, a good 30 yards off goal. You mentioned at the start of the half, Mark, at the start of the game too, Italiano is very confident coming out of his goals. He showed on that instance he didn't want to leave the work there to Anderson. We'll see another foul.
And a yellow card.
It looks like Thompson is the culprit. We'll see on the replay, definitely is.
Just late from Ross Thompson. That one in the 48th minute. It is 0-0 for those following us here on VPL Live. goalless here at AAMI Park. And what I like, even though we're here at the 30,000 seat professional stadium, bit of local football. We've had the Dandenong Red and Black Army switch ends at half time. I like it. Now Owie Drakos has made a meal of a couple of these so far today. Can he do a little bit better now for Oakleigh?
He had a set piece which only found the target in the first half. The tall timber of Walker nearly connected to give Oakleigh a chance. But what can Drakos do here? They need to take these chances, Oakleigh. They've been few and far between. Ooh. And between Webster and Brand there, the clearance didn't come. Luckily for the Thunder, it spilt the right way. And that moving nervously there for Dandenong. Not often do you see Stuart Webster make a mistake like that, but Oakleigh, the flag will stay down. Lagana, lovely turn, should finish, and he sliced the shot. He did all the hard work. And Frankie Lagana, we'll see here on the replay, but in the meantime, Brand down, and as we see, Mark on the turn, and all he had to do...
He just had to curl it in.
...was just curl it in.
He curled it out.
Maybe fire the shot towards the near post with a bit of power, and Webster was in strife.
So into the 50th minute. Dandenong 0, Oakleigh 0. Drakos gives away the foul against McElroy. And Kearney wants to take it quickly. He can't. It's ordered back.
And it's 0-0 after 50 minutes. It's the oldest cliche. It could easily be 2-2, 3-3. And whoever the loser is, unfortunately, in this grand final, will be ruining the chances. It's as simple as that. Both teams have had them.
So now Alvin, he's carrying a hamstring problem, although we believe it's a knee. They'll get tested. Here goes long. McElroy's there. Taliano forced to send it out.
Uncertain there whether Drakos was going to clear, or in fact even where Foster Bowen was. Right call on the end, especially when the stakes are this high.
So Rexepi to McElroy. Back to Rexepi. Battling there with Zoric. And the assistant referee says it's an Oakleigh throw-in. That's the way it's going to be. Except he can't believe it. Not sure Oakleigh are expecting to get that one either. And in fact, it'll be a kick for Italiano. So despite a series of half chances for both these sides, neither keeper have been super tested so far.
Except Italiano with that shot.
And I was about to say, hang on, and Webster as well.
and Webster
did have one fired right at him in that first half, but certainly nothing where they've had to make, I guess, spectacular saves.
But the hottest shot, definitely Thompson. As we see Alvin. And out muscling his opponent there, Sherman. Was he fouled? Referee thinks so, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Rammer getting one back on Sherman there. Sherman did well. And Rammer just wants to get one back.
And making a statement early on since coming on as a substitute. Rammer Tasman-Choglu, no stranger to success. As you mentioned, South Melbourne's captain in the 2006 championship winning team. Then known as the Vodafone Cup.
It was.
Now the Thunder looking to find the advantage. Brand towering above the pack. Couldn't connect. McElroy won't get there. And Jawadi there. Nearly found the scissor kick, but to no prevail. And now on the counter, Zoric. It's a great ball too, with plenty of space. Festerson, and well tracked there by Marler. Where did he come from?
Out of absolutely nowhere. Festerson seemed to have all the room in the world. Marler to the rescue for the Thunder. The Red Black Army of the Dandenong Thunder. They're certainly the more boisterous of the two sets of fans this afternoon, and probably the most, or the bigger in number, Dandenong Thunder.
No doubt about it. One of the larger clubs in terms of most support in the competition. Dandenong, South Melbourne, a lot of the old NSL teams, the Melbourne Knights, Heidelberg, with rich traditional historic pasts. Twisting and turning through Kearney there. Some good footwork there from Honos to draw a corner, when really you thought the result was going to be a ball into the box and it was easily going to be cleared by Webster. Honos has done well to draw the corner.
He sure has. Goes inside, goes outside, went back inside again. Now Drakos. He's got some tall timber. Anderson's in there. Luke Walker and Anderson getting a talking to. They may well be impeding the keeper. I guess that's what the referee was saying. Now Drakos.
High ball in. Brand clearing. Wanting it there was Marla. Italiano will restart. The Cannons playing a few long balls, and this time the transfer's on. Sorich through Rexepi. Was it a handball? McElroy. Play continues. Lagana towards the back post. A touch too deep there for Festerson. And clearing there. Shepton Marla. And now turning defence into attack for Thunder through Kearney.
Down to Foster Bowen. There's not too much on. Sherburn now coming in at the far post. And they've pointed the way of Lewis Italiano. Goal kick.
And that's two telling tackles from coming on Foster Bowen. And the Dandenong Thunder supporters about as unhappy with decision as I was going to say Julia Gillard with her opinion polls.
We talk about Ricky Diaco's ability to hold the ball up. He's almost the Mark Viduka of the VPL from that perspective, but don't know what he was thinking there. He's just brought it down. He's done well. He's obviously deceptively quick for a bloke of his size, but then just sent it down the line. Not sure what was going on there. And now he's had Alvin in front of him. So Dandy again, just trying to use the width down that left side of the park. AAMI Park to be exact. Through Kearney. Had Sherburn on, but Walker was there for Oakleigh. Late challenge from Festerson. The whistle doesn't go. Was off balance there, Ricky Diaco.
And both teams really hesitant with the football at the moment. We know it's 0-0 after 56 minutes. But both teams really don't want to take that risk at the moment. Playing very conservative football.
Mixture of luck and skill there for Exepi. He sort of rolled the dice, lost the ball, but turned back inside. And again, as you can see, most of the pro Oakleigh crowd in the Western Grandstand here at AAMI Park. There's Honos. And now it's going to be Drakos with the throw.
And his target there was Lagana. But Thunder clear again through Gilardi. Our man Anderson hasn't had much of the football. He was an early candidate for the Jimmy Rooney medal.
Very early.
And Rexepi finally consent the whole of that ball was over the line. And a slight jeer there from the Dandenong Thunder supporters. I think just suggesting to the referee they finally got that call right in terms of gifting a goal kick to Stuart Webster.
So 57 minutes down. Still 0-0 here in the VPL decider at AAMI Park. McElroy. Foster Bowen wins the free kick, and Anderson will cop a yellow card here. So our boy, he's been in and amongst the action as Casper Anderson throughout the game, but here in the 57th minute, he sees yellow.
And that was the right decision. The foot was up. It was a dangerous challenge, to say the least. He nearly collected Foster Bowen's head, let alone the football. And Thompson, this is his strength for me. Set pieces. Or scoring from long range, a good 20 yards out. Bullet-like into the box. May cop a headache from that one. Walker clearing. Festerson. 1-2. And this is where Oakleigh are at their best on the counter. Zorich is on the transfer. And it's a good ball. If it will hold up well, it will. Just thought it was going to be a touch too much in speed there. And this time Alvin will collect a yellow. And that is the Oakleigh Cannons' strength, turning defence into attack. We saw it in that round 20 match when it was our Victorian Premier League online match of the week. And Oakleigh starting to play the type of football they're accustomed to. Comfortable defending in numbers back. And when they get that opportunity to hit on the counter, you see exactly what happens.
We talk about it all the time in Australian football, people critical of the long ball, but that is the perfect example where you've got a nice diagonal long ball where they come off, especially when you've got pacey players like Zorich on the end. What can Oakleigh now make of another half chance?
And the transfer from Festerson to Zorich too was spot on.
Oh no, Anderson's there. He was flying early. Comes to nothing in the end for the Cannons.
A touch too early, wasn't he? A split second
was.
later, that would have connected. And that would have been a goal-scoring opportunity, as we'll see. He started that flight about 50 metres short off the runway. Webster. Winning the header. Diaco. Hasn't had much of the football, much influence in this game, but that's a great assist too now. This is interesting. It's definitely a foul. And this is
Alvin's off.
Alvin's second yellow. I'm sure about that. It certainly is. And Craig Alvin, well, what a game turner this is. Craig Alvin sent off for his second yellow card. And just when it was about to make his day, he was not going to play this game because of injury. He's had the opportunity to play, and now Craig Alvin has not only let himself down, but has let Dandenong down with his second yellow card. And I tell you what, Mark, from the naked eye, that looked like it was inside the box as well. But the free kick is being awarded just outside. So maybe, is that a stroke of luck, despite the red card for Dandenong?
Well, it is, but I mean, he's having a few words, choice words to Bill Theo as he makes his way. Doesn't mind having a few choice words down there as Bill Theo. So Ari Drakos will take it. You're right. I think it might have just started outside the box. That's where the initial contact started. That was the talk in the first half with the no call and the penalty as well. I reckon the one in the first half was. I'm quite happy to let this one go from where it is. Ari Drakos a bit close.
Drakos 60 minutes in.
Oh, Ari.
And I tell you what, Mark, as much as we love Ari Drakos, such an experienced footballer, I really think they need to look at someone with the likes of Goran Zorich or even the Pesterson to start taking set pieces.
Well, that one is at the top of the 18-yard box, so we know exactly how far out he was. And really, he needs to at least be making Stu Webster make a save there. And it just went flying right over the top. McElroy having a chat to Chris Taylor on the touchline right now. And that's brought the Dandenong Thunder faithful to life.
And now we don't like speaking about controversy. We want to focus on the football, but I've got to say from up here, definitely looked like a yellow card. It's a rash challenge.
Absolutely. Yep.
The referee had no other option but to send Craig Alvin off. And it's a huge loss because I really did think at the start of this match, no Craig Alvin, maybe the tide was going to be in Oakleigh's favour. The loss of Doyle was a huge loss for Oakleigh, but I really think the tide shifted again towards the Cannons. Numerically speaking, they've got the advantage on the pitch. That is, about to say, a costly turnover, but the pass from Kearney wasn't pinpoint there to Sherburn.
Can tell you that the Dandenong bench has been sent off to the Yarra end of AAMI Park, doing their warm-ups. This one comes through for Lagana. He takes a tumble. He's still down. And then a lunge from Marla just to avert immediate danger. The referee wants to have a chat to Lagana, see how he's travelling. And the players, as we've hit the hour mark in the game, Oakleigh 0, Dandenong 0. The players, as we have this short break, starting to just do their little stretches, might be just feeling it a little bit.
And a great chance to recap on the game thus far. We spoke about Dandenong having the advantage in the opening quarter of an hour, and we've said it a few times, Mark, opportunities don't come often, and Dandenong had several chances in the first half where they didn't convert, and now, in a split second, they find themselves a man down with Craig Alvin collecting second yellow card for the afternoon. And although it is a clean score sheet to date, 0-0, Oakleigh in the box seat, and Chris Taylor, as you mentioned, the substitutes immediately warming up. You know, tactically there's going to be changes in this match, and should the match progress even further in extra time, you think it's further going to play in Oakleigh's hands, but nothing has split these teams all season, and I'm sure we're up for a mouth-watering half an hour to decide at least who'll be crowned champions for 2012.
You got to see these sides play in round 20. Simon and I saw them a couple of weeks ago, and it's mirroring for me very much that game a couple of weeks ago where Dandenong were on top early, at home we might add, and down at George Anderson. and it was, I tell you what, very different conditions. Beautiful spring day here in Melbourne on the pool table surface here at AAMI Park. Down at Dandenong, it was wintry conditions, probably 7 or 8 degrees, so completely different from that perspective, but it's a game where Dandenong top early and Oakleigh just worked their way in. That one went to extra time and the Cannons got through on penalties. That
was the major semi-final, and that was a similar story. And even in that round 20 game, Dandenong started with a bang, started with a spark, and in fact, Sherburn could have had a hat-trick within the opening 15-20 minutes. Didn't convert with 3 easy chances. Oakleigh, by about the half-hour mark, started feeling more comfortable in that contest, and to their credit, could have easily scored 4 or 5 on the counter, but it was both goalkeepers, Stuart Webster and Italiano, that had standout performances and ensured that that match in round 20 was locked at 0-0. It was the point that gifted the Thunder the minor premiership. That was their second piece of silverware after the State Knockout Cup. Can they score a treble? And in fact, it'll be the first team in over 3 decades to collect a treble in Victorian football, should the Thunder be successful tonight. But the cards are against them now. The Cannons in the box seat, but they've got to do the most important thing, and that's score. Surely a nudge there. And another yellow card. Zorich brought down. And
it's Jawadi getting the yellow card on this occasion.
And the way this match is heading, it could be down to 10 or 9 respectively. Without even looking at the stats, I'm sure there's at least 6 players on yellow cards.
I think I've missed a couple of yellows with my notes here, but I can certainly count 1, 2, 3, 4, at least a handful going the way of Dandy, and I reckon I've missed a couple for the Cannons too, but Dandenong certainly getting the worst of it. So this one being left here for Anderson and Diaco, about 40 yards out. Can they be the ones through a set play here to break the deadlock? Not much of a set play, it just comes across over to James Cumming.
I think that was smart play too there from Diaco, because there really wasn't much in the box. Aside from Honest there, and I think Lagana too made an appearance. There was plenty of red and black shirts back. Here's Honest looking for some space wide, but unfortunately, it's easy from up here. The target was on the inside, pretty much on the penalty marker, Frankie Lagana, but he chipped it forward straight into the arms of Webster. 65.5 minutes, 0-0 in this 2012 Victorian Premier League Grand Final between the Cannons and the Thunder.
It was half clever, I think, that one. I think he was waiting for a couple of guys to come at the back. Here he is again, Honos. He's got Zorich to his left, and Festerson falls over. Zorich still. They're going to get away again, Dandy, and on the counter, they're looking for Sherburn. In fact, it's Foster Bowen. He's got Sherburn inside. Takes his first touch. Proceeds to Thompson. Thompson will put it in. There's nothing there. Tassin Choglu clears.
And you just saw from that piece of football just the lack of confidence there from both strikers in wanting to finish, but getting through some traffic. Surely that's a free kick. And it will be Ramat Tasman Choglu. And correct me if I'm wrong, it was Shepton Marler there.
Was it Jawadi or Jawadi?
Jawadi.
So
and that was a great solo run, and it definitely rewarded a free kick.
And another one, definitely not a penalty call, of course, but going to be another chance for a free kick in a very dangerous position. Luke Sherburne's got the ball in his hand. He's kind of claimed it. And Rama knew once he put that tackle in that he was in trouble. He gave the finger, not the bad finger, but the index finger to the referee, but it was always going to come.
And it
was late. There was no need, you're right.
Because Oakleigh had another 3 or 4 defenders there ready to challenge Jawadi there on that run. And now Sherburne with a chance to open the account. He does! It's the most superb set piece you'll see, and the golden boot for the league has found the advantage in the grand final. A 10-man Dandenong Thunder, 66.5 minutes. The most superbly executed free kick around the wall mark, and it's been Luis Italiano. And against the odds, the Thunder have got the goal when all the cards were stacked in Oakleigh's favour.
You're not wrong. And happy 21st to Luke Sherburne. That is goal number 21 in the Victorian Premier League season for this Welsh sensation. I was about to say a few moments ago, he's been okay today, but we haven't seen so much from him. And just like that, that's all it takes. He gets the free kick. Rama gives away the free kick, top of the D. And Luke Sherburne curls it around. He is a master.
And that was literally a definition of finding a needle in a haystack. He threaded that ball through a wall, bent it perfectly, and Sherburne beat Italiano there on the far post, and you'd not beat Italiano easily. And
so the 68th minute. Dandenong break the deadlock. Dandenong Thunder 1, Oakleigh 0. 68 minutes played here at AAMI Park. They are a man down, Dandenong, but they're a goal up.
And even though that was the most brilliant free kick converted from Lou Sherman, Iqbal Jawadi has to take credit for the assist. It was a great solo run. And how do you think Rama Tasman-Choglu is feeling at the moment, conceding that free kick? He's paid the ultimate price.
Well, it was a half-time substitution for Sam Mitchinson, was the veteran, Ramazan Tapson-Choglu. It was no malice in it, but it was late, it was unnecessary, and it has led to our first goal here today. Nathaniel Foster-Bowen and Peter Zoyce and Bill Theo. I'm just shortening to Theo.
You can buy a vowel there, Mark.
That's right. Well, I'm following the lead, of course, of his...
Chris Theodoridis Petropoulos, I think, the Northcote City keeper, who hyphenated his name as well.
What about Keri Histodulu?
Keriakos Gero Histodulu.
That's the one.
There's another one.
So,
I would love to play Victorian Premier League Scrabble, but that's another discussion altogether.
Point being, Peter, now we're going Peter Zoyce and Bill Theo. Just having a few words. Bill Theo certainly the animated one of the two, of the co-coaching crew down there at the Oakleigh Cannons. Zoyce a little bit more calm. But they need a goal back. They've got the numerical advantage, Oakleigh. They need to put that back up on the scoreboard. Well,
Dane Milovanovic, there's another one. 2 for the Oakleigh Cannons. And in fact, that substitution's about to be made now. So you feel a midfielder will be coming off. Dane Milovanovic, number 8 for the Cannons, coming on. And we'll have it confirmed in a moment. I think it looks like
Frankie Lagana or Frankie Lagana?
Yeah, Frankie Lagana. I'm not sure.
I'll keep reeling them off.
Yeah, until we get it right. It is Frankie Lagana, Simon says.
And you know what we didn't do? We're not used to it in the VPL. We actually had the assistance of the assistant referee with the numbers.
That's right, and we look immediately to the player. That just shows you how house-trained we've been throughout the season.
That's right. So we've got all the creature comforts here at AAMI Park. We should learn to use them.
Yes. And trust you're enjoying the coverage wherever you are worldwide, whether you are in Europe or America, good morning or good evening, or if you're in Australia, good evening as well.
Could be good afternoon.
Good afternoon
WA.
in Western Australia, exactly.
Particularly
with daylight savings
welcome to
carving up the state.
1986. No.
But trust you're enjoying the coverage worldwide in this 2012 Victorian Premier League Grand Final. First versus second, the minor premiers, the Dandenong Thunder, up against the Oakleigh Cannons, and conceding that goal, Oakleigh has just lost an ounce of confidence.
And I'll tell you what, you can see straight away Chris Taylor's men. The formation's changed for Dandenong. It is very much all of a sudden a defensive look from them. Happy to sit nice and deep.
I was about to say, they've parked the bus. No doubt about it. It looks like a flat back 5 at times. So,
and 2 right in front of that.
It's going to be even harder for the likes of Foster-Bowen to carve their way through. Some tall timber up back, Anderson, Milovanovic in particular. But I'll tell you what, Mark, if you're Bill Theodoropoulos, at the 75th minute mark, you just got to start rolling the dice, pressing players forward. You've got the numerical advantage. But at the same time, if Dandenong can really hit on the counter, the stakes are so high and the tactics are so crucial now, leading potentially into the final 20 minutes of football to be played out this season.
And if history tells us anything in season 2012 between these two, that the Oakleigh equalizer will come at some point. There is still 20 minutes to go in this game. Thunder 1-0 up. Honos goes long down to Zoric.
Pinpoint pass too.
Zoric inside, he'll shoot. Good save for Webster. Only as far as Diaco. And there's going to be a penalty there for Dane Milanovic.
And Milovanovic, no doubt about it, that was a penalty. The referee instantly pointing to the spot. Now, I would love to see the replay because I think it was McElroy there that conceded the penalty. But we spoke about Oakleigh taking some risks, playing more attacking football. For a rare occasion in this game, they did. And they've been given a penalty. And Mark, you called it in one. You said history suggests that Oakleigh will equalise. Well, they've got a long way to go before they convert, but they've got a great chance to do so. And it's Ricky Diaco to take the kick.
So Diaco from the spot. He's a veteran of this competition. Can he bury it? He does! Into the bottom left corner. He comes to life. The Oakleigh faithful come to life. And folks, it was only moments ago that I said that Oakleigh are likely to pull one back here. And all of a sudden, just like that, Simon, Dandy were in front. Now they're equal again on the scoreboard, and there's still a man down. And we've got over 15 minutes to play. It's going to go right down to the wire.
We've got the close one at AAMI, there's no doubt about it. But Ricky Diaco takes the credit on the scoreboard. And I tell you what, that's sweet revenge for a man that suffered some heartache last year in some grand finals. Ricky Diaco this time finds himself on the score sheet. But really, credit has to go to Bill Theodoropoulos. Made the substitution only 2 minutes later, or beforehand, brings Dane Milovanovic on. He sets up the penalty, tackled in the box, and bang, converted by Diaco.
Just like that. So Bill Theo, Peter Zoyce, they get a thumbs up. As Drakos concedes a free kick, Foster Bowen says, well, hang on, how about you let me play on there, ref?
I don't want to call it, but the way that this game is being played, I'm sure we're going to see another send-off or two.
Foster Brown, down the line, Zoric, who got the last touch? I feel it was Zoric, it wasn't. So the free kick, or the goal kick, I should say.
That was the correct call there too from the assistant.
If you've got dinner plans, folks, cancel them. I'm putting my money on extra time, of course, 15 minutes each way. 1 goal apiece, 74.5 minutes played here at AAMI Park, Victorian Premier League Grand Final. You're watching it here on VPL Live. Mark Van Aken and Simon McCuskey.
Well, Mark, I'm going to put my credibility on the line. I'm going to predict a winner in the final 15 minutes. I know I'm going against the tide of history and the tide of results this season, but I just sense the way this game's being played, plus the numerical advantage of Cannons, something's got to give.
Well, I wouldn't argue against you on that one. Walker, one of the multitude of players out there sitting on a yellow. Diaco does well to hold it up, then turn. Festerson. Now it's Tonos. The man who just won us the penalty.
Milovanovic.
Zoric. Still Zoric. Plays it off. Tonos skips it over. Walker will shoot, but that one was limp.
That looked like an easy save for Webster in hindsight, but boy, it had a few dips and awkward bounces. I think he may have landed that on the third occasion, and he held it well.
You just think for Oakleigh, of all the players for that one to land at the feet of, didn't want it to be Luke Walker, with all due respect. Yeah,
in particular he, and also the other gun from long range, Diaco, comes to mind.
Lumbering, effective defender, but not someone you want to see at the top of the D, curling one home. Had the right idea, hit it nice and hard, but not quite hard enough, and just didn't have...
Yeah, it just wasn't sweetly struck there.
That's right.
And we see the Cannons. Wow, what a momentum swing we've seen in this second half. Just when you thought Oakleigh had the momentum against the run of play, 10 men Thunder score. And you won't see a better set piece converted from Luke Sherburn. He scored that in the 68th minute. And just when you thought the momentum was going with the Thunder, a 10-man Thunder because of the sending off of Craig Alvin, bang, a penalty was awarded. And now we see Diaco!
Oh, how did that fall to Big Ricky?
And how did he finish that on the turn without even moving? As we'll see on the replay. Let the action do the talking. That was superbly struck.
And we can say that Dandenong are trying to park the bus, but obviously the complexity's changed. And how you allow Ricky Diaco, of all players, to be left unmarked top of the 18-yard box. Had a mountain of just an eternity of time. And probably should have done better in the end.
And we're starting to get the result and see the finale that this season deserved. There is nothing separated these two teams, despite the 8-point numerical advantage. But head-to-head, nothing has split the Cannons or the Thunder this season. And there's a bit of an anticlimax in the first half. A very lax, a very conservative, a very risk-free game of football being played. But boy, it's opened up, particularly in the last 20 minutes. And what a finale, lined up with just over 13 minutes to play here at AAMI Stadium, the home of Victorian football. And the 2012 Grand Final is superbly placed for a finish that no one's going to know. It's 1-1. even though the Cannons might have the numerical advantage, this game can really go either way.
Well, it can, and as we've mentioned, Diaco willing it on the end, and that's a potential goal over there, and theatrical stuff from Brian Brand, but there's a mountain of players on yellow cards. We may well see that numerical advantage be evened up over the last 12 minutes of regular play here at AAMI Park.
That was great play from Brian Brand. Desperation too. Scissor kick. Don't want to give Kellogg's a sponsor.
Hello.
But he ate his all, Brand.
Walker.
And Walker gone. There's a second yellow card. And now it's all square. 10-10 apiece. And boy, look at the reaction there from Luke Sherman. He knows that the Dandenong Thunder are back in this contest now.
I've been prophetic and not pathetic, prophetic so far today. I said Oakleigh are likely to get one back and score, and I said we're about to see another player go off.
And we called it
Luke
too.
Walker within second obliged me, and I didn't want that to happen, but it's happened.
Pardon the pun, Lou Walker's walking, but the wrong way.
That's
straight
right.
to an early shower. And we did say the way this game's being played, there is no way it's going to be sustainable in 11-11. It's down to 10-10. And don't be surprised, it could be down to 9-9 if this game does go down to extra time. The desperation rises, the stakes increase, and the Thunder now with the momentum swing heading their way now. And we'll see Foster Bowen there, and the whistle's been given. Milovanovic, oh well, take that back. I thought he was about to collect the free kick. It will be a throw. Drakos. And speaking of momentum swings, there really, for my liking, hasn't been a standout player in this game. It's going to be really interesting to see who the Jimmy Rooney medal is awarded to. Maybe Thompson's a contender, and that man too with the football, Festerson. And was that a foul? No. Top challenge there from Marla. Here's Kearney. 79 minutes and 56 seconds to be exact played in this contest at AAMI Park. 1-1. Just over 10 minutes to see whether we will have a champion determined in normal time, or will we be going to extra time. That's normally the story between these two teams in finals football, but time will tell. And getting back to that comment, Mark, last couple of years, maybe taking last year out of the equation, Foster, we'll get back to that in a moment. Exciting run. The finish lets him down, but aside from last year's game, which was settled in extra time, the last couple of grand finals, really the result has generally been a formality, particularly with Green Gully, that Richmond game. It was all over as far as we were concerned 60 minutes in, but this one, even with Oakleigh temporarily having the numerical advantage, you really don't know which way it's going to go.
Well, cheerio to Mel Impiambato. He's tuning in from Wellington, and we expected him to be here today. Of course, the Wellington Phoenix played the Heart before this game, but reliably tells me it's not part of his role anymore, travelling around, so less frequent flyer points. Cheerio to him. Now Sherman pulls himself inside. Foster Bowen pulls the trigger. Flag stays down, and Dandenong Thunder, they've got the advantage. Lewis Italiano, he didn't like it. The Dandenong fans celebrating with the players, and just like that, as you see on the replay.
We've just seen it on the replay, Mark. What a fantastic build-up. Sherman combining with Foster, and that finish wasn't easy there from Foster. Bowen, that was a fantastic goal. As we see Dandenong Thunder fans in absolute raptures at the moment. And number 19, Daniel Foster Bowen, scores the winner. And Mark, I did say we could have a winner to be settled in normal time. I don't want to speak too soon because history suggests that Oakleigh, and even though there's only 8 minutes remaining, can easily equalise. And Bill Theodoropoulos turning straight to his bench. He's going to make another substitution. Evan Christodoulou, the former Sunshine Georgie, will be coming on. And coming off, bit of a surprise, Goran Zoric.
Yeah, he's just started to work himself into this game as Zoric. He's a live wire. So perhaps a little bit surprising. He's disappointed. And we've got 8 minutes to play here. Dandenong Thunder, 10 men apiece at the moment. We haven't got Dandenong. There they go. It just goes up on the scoreboard. So have Oakleigh got an equaliser in them?
History suggests it's the case. Time will tell. And Nathaniel Foster-Bowen intercepting that ball and getting back to that goal. That was a brilliant finish from him and a great piece of play. It's one of the best pieces of play or passages of play for the game, and it was great to see that a goal came out of it. Not good news for Oakleigh Cannons fans, but that build-up and the pressure there from Sherman, the cross cut back in there to Nathaniel Foster-Bowen, it was great football all round.
This one running now for Christodoulou. Gets the byline. Brand sees it out.
That was a sweeper's roll there. He was in the vital position there to sweep that ball clear. Ricky Diaco there was ready to swallow that for breakfast. Well, maybe dinner at this time of the day.
That's right. Tessin Choglu gave away the free kick that led to the Dandenong's first goal. That one's going to be too long, you feel. And the boos ring out. And I'll tell you what, I thought we had most of the Oakleigh fans in front of us, but when that send-off came for Luke Walker, there was still plenty of Dandenong fans around us that were quite happy with the send-off. The assistant referee having a chat now to Peter Zoyce, just getting a little bit excited down there in the technical area.
And Webster to restart. There's a few getting excited, but the result's not a formality yet. 84.5 minutes, Oakleigh Cannons 1, Dandenong Thunder 2. And there's plenty of questions being asked. Can the Cannons equalise? Will the Thunder collect their first Victorian Premier League title? Will they be the first team in over 3 decades to register the treble, to match their state knockout cup win and also the Victorian Premier League champions being crowned minor premiers? We'll have all these answers maybe in 5 minutes, maybe in extra time. Who knows the way this game's going to pan out. There's definitely more fuel in the tank for Oakleigh to try and at least conjure a shot or a potential equaliser. But as for Dandenong, I think they've got another one in them too.
5 minutes to play, Dandenong 2, Oakleigh 1. The 86th minute is upon us. VPL Grand Final. Historic day awaits. And the only thing, I guess, in the favour of Oakleigh, they didn't have to play last week, as we discussed. Will they be a little bit fresher? We haven't seen that so far.
This time Webster punching out, but it'll fall to Christodoulou. And I tell you what, if there was going to be one play you'd want on the edge of the box to really rocket that in on the half volley, Christodoulou. He won goal of the year from firing in an absolute rocket when he was playing with the Georgies a few years ago from a similar distance. And he had the power, just couldn't keep it down. But I know it's not a good sight to have players sent off, but 10-10, hasn't this game opened up?
Yeah, I was going to say, it actually has brought us back, of course, to a level playing field. If my notes are correct, and as I said, throughout the excitement of the game, I may have lost track, but there's almost every single player here on the red sheet for Dandenong Thunder that have got a yellow card next to their name. So we might see some more. I guess from that perspective, it's calmed down a little bit. It's cooled down a little bit. There's 4 minutes to play, and Oakleigh, they desperately need. And Christodoulou was the last to touch that one, says the referee. Desperate times now. 3.5 minutes of regulation time on the clock.
He wanted to fool Brenton Haywood there, Christodoulou. Trying to milk him in for the throw. It wasn't there. And I think Sherman, for me, he's going to win the Jimmy Rooney medal. Scored one, set up one himself. We'll see what happens. It's not over yet. Drakos, any thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, look, I'd probably agree. I'm not sure he's done quite enough, but then you'd be asking me, well, who else would there be? I'll come back to you on that one in a second. I tell you what, almost on cue though, he could score another one here. And Foster-Bowen just gets to the byline, goes inside, wasted opportunity.
And how ironic, the most potent attack in Victorian football. I think they've reached something like 30 out of 39 goals between them. Marla, well, I'm not sure why that wasn't called a foul. I thought the boots were up and the tackle was high, but this time it falls into Oakleigh's favour. Diaco there, a letdown.
And I can tell you what, Juardi was left smarting from that one. Drakos has hurt himself too from that tackle. And just for a second, Giovanni was running back, and I thought he was maybe going to give Drakos one on the way through.
And I thought there for a second Nathaniel Foster-Bowen was going to bring out the Mario Balotelli temper there. I thought he was going to absolutely let go at the assistant there for not giving that foul. But I still maintain what I said. He has all the attributes of a Balotelli except his temper, which is a fantastic thing. I think this kid will go places.
Sherban is being tracked by Drakos. Temporarily dispossesses him, but Sherban wins it back. He's going to be happy to eat up some clock here. Got Anderson and Drakos. Drakos now. Diaco does well. Does Big Ricky. He's got Ramazan Tassadoglu in front of him. And 4 defenders from
and
the
it was on
Dandenong
first
Thunder.
time.
It had to go through straight away, but really Rama is probably not the guy you want to be sending that down to.
One thing I love about Ricky Diaco, boy, he gives his heart and soul. He is busting his gut out there and charging at every play. Read in the media this week how he's still hurting from last year's grand final. He doesn't want to experience that agony ever again. And he's ensuring that he himself can do as much as he can do to ensure that he doesn't endure the same result. But time is ticking down. And I'm sure we're going to have a few minutes of stoppage time, particularly because of the send-offs and, unfortunately, a few flares flying off the ground post that Dandenong Thunder goal. And I'm sure the Football Federation of Victoria Coppers will be far rewarded for those events.
I think we might see 4 minutes in the vicinity of that. So this game not quite done and dusted, but we are in the last 30 seconds of our 90 minutes. Oakleigh 2-1 up, and it's just getting a little bit testy out there. Lavanovic sends it long for Ramazan. It's Marla versus Rama. Marla comes up with the chocolates. Through the middle for Thompson. Former gold medalist in this competition, Foster-Bowen. Does he keep it in? He's going to be dancing with the line. He does. He's got Sherban if he wants to square up. Probably needed to go in earlier, although they're probably just trying to milk the clock down at this point. As we said, there is going to be a few minutes of extra time. Sherban was there for the taking, was he not, Simon?
He was, but I tell you what, I want to look at the positives of that whole entire piece of play. Some really desperate individual acts. It started there with Tasman Choglu defending deep for Oakleigh. 5 minutes of stoppage time. Boy, we are going to have the climax that we were after in this grand final. And what about Nathaniel Foster-Bowen's effort there to keep that ball alive? He collected a few frequent flyer points in the air, kept it alive, but as you said, Sherban was all there on the inside for the taking.
Did well to not take out the linesman too, we might add. Lou Italiano very close to coming out of his 18-yard box there.
He measures it fine, and some smart play there from Webster. I know it's only a few seconds, but the clock ticks down. 5 minutes of it, and we've played 30 seconds of stoppage time. Oakleigh Cannons 1, Dandenong Thunder 2. The Dandenong Thunder crowd in particular. And this will be a foul. This could be a second. I think Milovanovic, I was about to say, I thought that was his second card for a while, but I spoke too soon. It's his first. I thought he collected one prior, but we've seen that many yellow cards issued. It's actually hard to take stock of who's collected them across both squads.
Was it Christodoulou then maybe? Or Rama? I don't know. Well,
it was Milovanovic, but it must have been his first for the afternoon.
I was asking who's collected one, because I did think one of the subs for Oakleigh had collected one. Anyway, we're clearly wrong.
Unless we had referee Graham Pole there officiating proceedings, and it was a third yellow card for
anyway,
the
Ricky
afternoon.
Diaco is saying, look, this keeps cramping. Can we get him off the ground? And if the ref's smart, he'll just tack an extra minute onto his time added on.
And Chris Taylor there marching on the sidelines. This next 4.5 minutes are going to feel like 4.5 hours. He's so close to tasting glory. And boy, if he is glorious this afternoon, what a turnaround for Chris Taylor. Left the Melbourne Knights over a year ago. Didn't think we'd see him back in the coaching helm or seen in Victorian football. I think went up to Coffs Harbour, I think. My memory serves me correct, doing some coaching clinics, football clinics. And has come back after Stuart Webster, which was great news in itself. Took the job at Perth Glory as the assistant to Ferguson.
Munro.
Munro, sorry. Price check, recall lane 8. But we eventually got there, and Chris Taylor's walked into the hot seat. And, boy, what a return, a successful return this could be. Similar circumstances to Ian Dobson last year for Green Gully.
There's 2.5 minutes of extra time for Oakleigh to turn it around, and Honos Honos reversed him around there. That one, well, they've got to do desperate things right now, Oakleigh.
And they look like they've won 30 million in Oz next week.
Looking very, very happy with themselves. They've made the trek, as you said. They've paid the tolls. They've come up the M1.
And not only that, unfortunately, there has to be a loser in this contest, but both teams just know how close they've been to success the last couple of years. And the Dandenong Thunder, with one of the largest followings in the competition, were absolutely bitter about that loss in 2009 to the Altona Magic. And they are 2 minutes away from securing the 2012 championship. But as these results show, it's a great through ball from Diaco Christodoulou. This is some vital defending here from McElroy.
Oh, well done, McElroy.
And McElroy did well to concede the corner. The Thunder with numbers back. Whew. And there you see Festerson there. Couldn't keep that header down. This is going to feel like the world's longest 2 minutes. And speaking of someone that is on the cusp of collecting a championship medal, Bethlin Corchari, he has been through thick and thin with the Dandenong Thunder. I think has been with them several times when they've been promoted and relegated from Division 1 to the Premier League. A former captain coming on in the last 2 minutes and replacing what has been an absolute workmanlike effort from Nathaniel Foster-Bowen.
It has, and he's a fan favourite. This Corchari, as you said, long history with this club, and they were giving him plenty of support when he was warming up down at the Yarra end earlier in this half. A real son of the Dandenong Thunder. They want the whistles.
50 seconds remaining, Mark. And Oakleigh with one last roll of the dice. Drakos. And look at the Thunder players making their way back.
Oh.
Webster just wasn't confident. There's some good pressure. Oh. And nearly you had it there with the scissor kick, Milovanovic. Wow.
Did that hit the back of Diaco then?
And I think you have it there. The Dandenong Thunder have done the treble. The first team in over 3 decades to collect the minor premiership, the state knockout cup, and now the Dandenong Thunder are crowned 2012 Victorian Premier League champions in a contest against the Oakleigh Cannons that literally went down to the wire. The Dandenong Thunder 2, Oakleigh Cannons 1.
It's a cliche, but talk about going down to the wire. Oakleigh had a golden opportunity to equalise with literally 4 or 5 seconds left on the clock. They had one shot, they had 2 shots. I reckon the last one might have actually gone into the back of Ricky Diaco. It was like watching a pinball machine. It was
Milovanovic, and it just got a deflection, but the right deflection for the Thunder.
Great work by McElroy down there as well, doing the defensive work. And you've got to say, they won the minor premiership by 8 points. It is losing my handle there. A deserved win for the Dandenong Thunder and their big crowd here to look at the detection.
And it's back-to-back dejection, unfortunately, for the Oakleigh Cannons.
Dejection's the word. I said detection. Not sure why that was a relevant word. Dejection is the word of the Oakleigh Cannons, but I guess we see on the screen right now the Dandy fans celebrating with Dandenong Thunder, minor premiers and season champions here with FFE.
And what a grand final we had. The first half, 2 teams really not willing to play, rather played risk-free football, didn't take many risks, plenty of crosses, plenty of set pieces, plenty of shots that just simply didn't find the target. And boy, didn't the game open up in the second half. Unfortunately, it started off with Craig Alvin collecting a red card, and you thought the momentum was going to go with the Oakleigh Cannons. Against the run of play, in fact, Dandenong score courtesy of Luke Sherman with one of the most brilliant set pieces you'll see. I think it's the 60-odd minute mark. That goal was scored, and just when you thought the tide was heading down the Thunder's way, another sending off. This time for Oakleigh, it was Luke Walker that he was getting his walking orders, marching orders. He had an early shower. And the penalty, Ricky Diaco won. In fact, Oakleigh won, converted by Ricky Diaco. And you thought it was going to go down to the wire. And one of the best pieces of play for the game. It started with Luke Sherman. He found Nathaniel Foster-Bowen. And you can see the celebration occurring. It's looking more like manpower.
Well, I don't know about the bloke in the middle there. It looks a bit like me. probably could do with keeping the top on down there, but they're, of course, very excited at the Dandenong Thunder, and, of course, that second goal eventually came for Dandenong. You're right, it's a first half that belonged to Dandenong for much of the first 20-25 minutes. Oakleigh just worked their way in. Wasn't a fantastic first half. We wanted it to open up a bit in the second half. It came. We got the goals, couple of send-offs. There we go. That says it all. The Thunder,
Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck.
And what a finale we had. And even though you thought the Thunder were in the box seat, that Milovanovic scissor kick was goal bound. And I'm sure Webster didn't see it. He was blinded by a sea of players. Luckily for it was McElroy, I think, that cleared that ball when it ultimately mattered. And the Dandenong Thunder have registered the treble, unfortunately for Oakleigh. And that man, Ricky Diaco, a man that has just given his all for Oakleigh, given his all for Victorian football for that matter. And Mark, I know you got it right second time round, but unfortunately, dejection's the word that really must sum up the Cannons. What a season they've had with all those disruptions. Huskendenovic leaving the club midway through the season. Peter Zoyce taking the helm temporarily, and then Bill Theodoropoulos coming on. That sort of disruption really disrupts the momentum of a football club. And Oakleigh just grounded their way through it all. Got to a grand final with the week off. And nothing has separated these teams for over 300 minutes throughout the season. And finally, we had a result settled in 90 minutes. And as we can see, the Dandenong Thunder celebrating behind the scenes in the official presentation. Mark will be awaiting us shortly.
That's right. And if you are viewing here with us on VPL Live, stick around. We're going to have the presentation. So we're going to go right through on our coverage. We thought we were going to go for extra time, but instead we've got the presentation coming up, of course. You talk about Oakleigh, they're a team that has spent big, must be said, over the last decade, and they've probably spent more in previous years. They've still got plenty of talent in this team, but they've built teams, built for September action. They never quite got it done. Their luck changed a bit under Arthur Pappas last year. They finally got to a grand final, and it looked like for much of that grand final they were going to get it done. They couldn't do it. Again today, they came in, well, they were the home team because they won that major semi. Probably still the underdog, although Dandenong, of course, were missing a couple of players through Mullet, Theodore, Craig Alvin was underdone and then ultimately sent off. But again, it's another back-to-back year of disappointment for the Oakleigh Cannons.
But if you always turn a negative into a positive, the Oakleigh Cannons can really take a leaf out of the Dandenong Thunder book. The Thunder have been the better team in terms of winning minor premierships throughout the seasons, but have squandered finals opportunities, lost finals games, and haven't been on the big stage. And in fact, to only qualify for a grand final, well, aside from taking today out of the equation once in 2009, really was a short return for a club that's been there or thereabouts the last 4 to 5 years. And persistence is the key. No doubt about it. Dandenong eventually had all the ingredients to eventually make it the perfect season, and there's no doubt about it. I'm absolutely more than confident that one of these seasons, very imminently in the future, the cards will stack right to the Cannons and they will eventually crack for that inaugural title.
Well, for the first time in about 5 or 6 years, or maybe longer, Simon, you're not the one down on the ground. You're with me up on the grandstand. So you won't be making the presentations down there, so you can stick with me, so that's good. So we can keep talking about the game. Jimmy Rooney medal for the best player of field. I think we probably landed on Luke Sherman. I'm just trying to, if you went through the list, for anyone else for Dandenong Thunder, probably no. Let's have a look through the list.
Maybe
for the Oakleigh Cannons,
Foster-Bowen or Thompson for me, but I think the one with the impact, the perfect assist, the perfect goal converted from a set piece. I think Luke Sherman, the golden boot, will take the spoils, but don't want to preempt an outcome. Got it wrong last season, and I think, looking from an Oakleigh Cannons perspective, Ricky Diaco had a brilliant second half. I thought the player that had the most consistent 90 minutes was our man, Rasmus Festerson.
Yes. I was about to say, Festerson certainly did well. Drakos toured throughout the day. Zoric came into it, particularly in the last half hour of the game before being subbed out. Lamberos Honon was lively, but certainly not best afield by any stretch. And Casper Anderson, well, he came in and sort of made plenty of clearances, but you wouldn't be giving him best on ground. So let's see who it goes to, but Sherman would certainly be up there. Well, and he's just an amazing live wire of a player.
And how ironic, the two lead goal scorers in this competition, Foster-Bowen and Sherburn combine to either assist or score both goals. And what a season it's been for the Thunder. And what a success story they've been for Victorian football, because they were at a record low. Probably trying to get my mind, probably about 8 or 9 years ago. They were struggling in Division 1. They were a real threat to be relegated to South East Division 2. They stayed up in Division 1. They got their backyard in order, promoted to the Victorian Premier League, and within a couple of seasons turned to be a powerhouse. Couldn't get there in 2009. Squandered a few finals opportunities where they had the opportunity to qualify for the big dance, but they're taking their opportunity this afternoon.
They sure have. Transformation down there, of course, the new grandstand in recent years. As we said a couple of times throughout the broadcast, one of the best supported teams, not just in the Victorian Premier League, but across, of course, the entire competition, because, as we know, there are some great stalwarts of the VPL don't draw the biggest crowds, and there's probably teams down in sort of even State 2 and 3 that draw bigger crowds, but you can draw a line right through from Premier League down to Provi 3, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a team that has a bigger support base than the mighty Dandenong Thunder, and much of that support base is here today. And they're all moving into the vantage point to see the stage right in front of our commentary position here as the last few dejected Oakleigh fans work their way out. We had Archie, of course, the legendary figure down at Oakleigh. He was right in front of our box, and nothing short of disappointment.
And turning our attention before the formalities actually start in terms of the presentations, Mark, I think another test, and I think it's been a successful test for the Football Federation of Victoria, the Football Federation of Australia, and the Melbourne Heart Football Club, and that's been having this grand final immediately after an A-League contest. Plenty of Melbourne Heart, Wellington Phoenix shirts, mixing in with the sea of predominantly Dandenong Thunder supporters here to support their team, who will be crowned 2012 champions in a minute. And as we said, some dejected Oakleigh fans that are waiting to hear what Ricky Diaco has to say on the dais. And if you just joined our broadcast, just to recap proceedings for the afternoon, it's taken the 4th attempt this season, but finally a game between the Oakleigh Cannons and Dandenong has been settled, and it ended up the Dandenong Thunder 2, Oakleigh 1. And we'll turn to the presentation right now with our Master of Ceremonies, Nathan.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, why don't you put your hands together for both teams and what was a great game of football for the 2012 VPL Grand Final today. First of all, I'd like to welcome our VIPs, Nick Monteleone, the President of FFV, Zach Gorefsky, Director FFV, Ian Amachi, Director FFV, Mark Reynolds, CEO FFV, Jimmy Rooney, former Socceroo, Peter Sidwell, Chairman of Melbourne Heart, and Scott Munn, CEO of Melbourne Heart, Presidents, committees and other officials of the competing teams, Oakleigh Cannons and Dandenong Thunder, FFV Standing Committee Chairs and Zone Representatives, and family, friends and supporters of Victorian football. I'd like to acknowledge our supporting partners, the Victorian Government for Sport and Recreation Victoria, Vic Health, The Weekly, Calibre, All Trophies, Multifit, Eastlink, 2XU, Legia, Nike, Mida, Adidas, Blue Thunder Security and Cedar. On behalf of FFV, I'd like to thank everyone for their contribution this season. Thank you Melbourne Heart for partnering with us today to present today's game as a double header with the A-League, and the team at AAMI Park for making today possible. As you all know, the final score saw Dandenong Thunder 2 defeating Oakleigh Cannons 1 today. We thought the whole time it might go into extra time in what was a hard-fought battle, but congratulations on Dandenong Thunder coming out on top. I'd like to acknowledge the referees in today's game and invite FFB President Nick Monteleone and Directors Ian Amachi and Zach Grefsky to assist in our presentations today. So acknowledging the referees, first of all, Brenton Hayward, Patrick Chaplin, Pascal Isnatis, and Greg Goncharo.
Nate Foster.
Jimmy Rooney.
Danny Sunny of the Jimmy Rooney. Yep.
Nate Foster.
Yeah.
Thank you to the referees. It's now time to announce the best on ground in the grand final, the Jimmy Rooney medalists. I invite Jimmy Rooney, former Socceroo, to present the medal named in his honour, and today it goes to Nick Foster from the Dandenong Thunder. Sorry, Jimmy. So now to acknowledge today's runners-up, the Oakleigh Cannons. I'd like to invite some juniors from the Oakleigh Cannons to help make the presentation to today's runners-up. Assisted again by FFB President Nick Monteleone and board members Ian Emanamachi and Zach Gorefsky. So going through today's runners-up, the Oakleigh Cannons, first of all, Luis Italiano. Samuel Mitchinson. James Cumming. Casper Anderson. Aristides Drakos. Luke Walker. Frankie Lagana. Lambros Honos. Rasmus Festerson. Ricky Diaco. Goran Zoric. Daniel Neesham. Dane Milovanovic. Ramazan Tavsansioglu. Jesse Kruncevic. And Evan Christodoulou. Team manager Eric Martin. Assistant coach Peter Zoyce. And Oakleigh Cannons coach Bill Theodoropoulos. A few words, Bill. Bill. Just invite Peter Zoyce to say a few words on behalf of the Oakleigh Cannons. Pardon? Joint head coach. Yeah, thank you. My apologies. Joint head coach Peter Zoyce. Just a few words on the game. And now to present the winning medals to the Dandenong Thunder, juniors from the Dandenong Thunder Club. Stuart Webster. Craig Elvin. Brian Brand. Ross Thompson. Liam Carney. Sheptim Mala. Iqbal Jawadi. Nate Foster. Luke Shervin. Sean McElroy. Zaim Zanelli. Ennis Civic. Brendan Elmazovsky. Feston Azizi. Team manager Rajib Jusufi. Assistant coach Gustavo Caminos. Dandenong Thunder head coach Chris Taylor. I will invite Chris to stay on stage, and I invite up now co-captains Shane Rixepi and Betan Korkari. If the co-captain and coach could remain on stage.
Jagger, you going to say something? Stay right there so you can hear it through your mic.
Sure.
Well, first of all, I thank Oakleigh Cannons, Peter and Bill. He's done a great job this year. Unlucky, it's a grand final, unfortunately one team wins. Keep your head up and give it another crack next year. Everyone give a big round of applause for Oakleigh Cannons. Secondly, thank you very much to the Victorian Premier League, the FFB, for putting on such a great day. Not only that, a great year, so thank you very much. Our major sponsors, Bendigo Bank, Banner on High, Legia, and everyone else, thank you very much also. I'd like to say a big thank you to Chris Taylor, all the coaching staff, all these amazing players, absolutely superstars. Dandenong Thunder Premiers, come on! Woo! And my co-captain, the captain, the most courageous captain of Dandenong's history, Betan Korkari, would like to say a few words.
I'll keep it short for me. Commiserations obviously to Oakleigh. Guys has had a great season. Second of all, I'd like to thank all the supporters, the Albanian community, not just in Dandenong, but also a big thanks to obviously the players, coaching staff, committee members, everyone involved. Done a great job. I mean, the treble guys, you can't get any more, so well done, great season. And make all yourself come back to the club, the drinks are going to be flowing, so come down. One more thing before I finish. The wife, happy anniversary. I love you.
Stay up here. I invite the head coach of Dandenong Thunder, Chris Taylor, back to the stage to say a few words.
Not sure what to say, it's not like this. Big thank you to a lot of people in the club that work behind the scenes. The club had a big deficit at the start of the year from the support from last year. They've worked phenomenally hard this year. This hasn't come about by fluke. Just to the players, best group of players I've had. I've coached for 19 years. These lot deserve thoroughly what they got this year. Best team that you've seen in the Premier League for 10 years. And also to our loyal supporters, Christina. Alright, so we'll see you all back at the club, and thanks very much for a great day. Thank you.
Now invite FFB President Nick Monteleone to present the Premiership Cup to the 2012 VPL champions, Dandenong Thunder.
And as We Are the Champions rings out across AAMI Park, Dandenong Thunder are the champions of Victorian football tonight, Simon, and they're celebrating as such.
They're celebrating as such, and I thought the best thing that came out of that presentation was two things. Shane Rexepi's speech was absolutely brilliant. First of all, just acknowledging how hard it is for two teams to get to a grand final, and his level of respect and gratitude for the Oakleigh Cannons was second to none. One of the best acceptance speeches I've heard in a while, and the appreciation of his players and all the volunteers and everyone behind the scenes to make that club tick and ultimately reap the rewards that they had this afternoon. And that was very similarly reiterated by Chris Taylor, and I really struck by the fact that he's been coaching for 19 years and claimed this is the best squad he's ever had under his helm in terms of character and talent, and that everything that they achieved today was certainly no fluke.
Well, they did it in style, as we mentioned several times throughout the broadcast. They've won the treble, the minor premiership. They've won the treble. They'll be in trouble tomorrow morning with some of the hangovers, no doubt, but they've won treble for the first time in something like 35 years. They were the minor premiers, they've won the state knockout cup, and they've been made champions here today. On behalf of myself, Mark Van Arken, Simon McCuskey, and the entire crew throughout season 2012, we thank you, and we'll see you again in 2013.
And from all of us here at AAMI Park, it's good night, take care, and we'll see you in just under 6 months for, ironically, the 2013 season of Victorian football to kick off.